This podcast is brought to you by you, the listener. And if you want to help out the podcast, you can support us, our independently funded efforts, by going to our website, aapodcast.com/join, or you can go to Patreon. You will get our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties, and we just put some new tiers on Patreon if you want to check those out for some little extra bonus nuggets. Of course, if you want to support the podcast and help us, you can go to aapodcast.com/join our Patreon, and we will love you so much. And with that, let's start the podcast.
わー、来てくれてありがとう。You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at aapodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hey everybody, welcome to another podcast, episode 554 of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast, and I'm your host, Mitsugi. We're here to make your anime addiction worse. Me and my two buddies. We've got Mason. How are you, Mason?
That's me. I'm doing great, everybody. So glad to be here. So glad to talk about financial responsibility. Actually, no, we're talking about anime today, and I couldn't be more hyped.
And Mandy here to tell you all about Cyberpunk. Mandy, how are you?
I'm talking all about Cyberpunk. That's you, not me. Unless you're talking about my Cyberpunk kitty
I was about to
headset.
say, you're the one with the...
Hey guys, I'm doing alright. I've got something in my chest, but I'm trying my best. So if I sound a little hoarse, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm gonna crack open a monster. Oh, pour one out for my homies. Guys, if you wanted to hear us talk about Cyberpunk, you can go to our Hobby Addicts. I just talked about it for an hour. So my honest thoughts on Cyberpunk. So all the good, all the bad, it's all there. You can also find us over at twitch.tv/AAA podcast. We are live every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern. We are here for your entertainment. Thank you to everybody that is tuned in to watch us live. We appreciate having the audience. And of course, you know, all the other basic social media places, your Facebooks, your Twitters, we're there. Check us out. We want you to come to our Discord. So if you come to our Discord, which, by the way, very happy and excited about it, but we just reached rank 2 on the Discord, which gives you, like, I guess some extra, like, perks.
We
We have, like, better
all
images.
these emojis, better video and audio quality, more upload limits. It's much better.
So special thanks to the Double Boost, Hero U, Nut 135, and Rust Fee, and all of the previous boosters as well. So that made it possible. Oh, so beautiful. So also, Mason, what is going on with this Best of 2020 poll that
It's
doing?
kind of the end of the year, and therefore, you know, with the current anime season starting to wind down, we need to start gearing up for our big end-of-year festivities or special episodes and stuff. So next time you're hearing a podcast from us, the poll will be live, and it has a very expansive drop-down list where you can rank your top 10 anime of the year. It has all the eligible ones in there, plus all these optional stuff like best movie, best season, best waifu, best husbando, all that good stuff. So that will be out. We'll be shooting it out on our social media, on the Discord. Link is in the show notes here, but that will be coming up shortly. So start thinking, start ruminating, and start considering what you want to vote for that.
All right. Well, yeah, get to it, guys. Don't delay. On this episode of the podcast, we're going to go back to a topic that we did a couple months ago where we were recommending anime for you. We had so many people put in submissions on, you know, wanting to get anime recommendations that we only got through like a quarter of them or something.
Yeah, about a quarter.
And, you know, feeling kind of bad about it. You know, we don't want you to feel neglected, so we're going to revisit this, and we're going to recommend some anime for you. And even if you didn't make a submission, hey, you still might be able to benefit. Maybe there's someone just like you who put in some submissions, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person likes all the same stuff as me. And then we recommend some shows, and then boom, you get something I mean, you were kind of lazy. You didn't really like do the work, but you benefit
Damn.
anyway. Yeah,
They had to put up with listening to us, which is enough of a tribulation.
it's true. After that, we have a very packed new releases segment. There's a lot of new anime coming out that are pretty exciting, so we're going to talk about those, and also a review of The Great Pretender, the Netflix anime series. So now that you know what's coming, let's get to the big news of the week. No delays.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
I want to start off the podcast here with a little humor. So there was a survey that asked, like the biggest middle school ever, or elementary, I guess, the Shinken Zemi Elementary School, which had 7,661 third to sixth grade kids, asked them the questions about the people that they admired most and the things that they liked best. And this is pretty funny. So approximately 30% of the students chose Demon Slayer as their favorite thing from 2020. So the demon train just keeps rolling. And so, but the funny thing is that, so all of quote, my mom, my dad, and my teacher are all on the list. But sorry, Mom, you're only number 2 because Tanjiro Kamado from Demon Slayer has beaten you out. Poor Mom. She's only second place.
Cute.
Where was Zenitsu on the list?
Zenitsu was number 9. So
he was actually on the list.
So there's some. This is like Family Feud. Bing. I think I got a drop here. You know what? Screw it. If I can pull this drop up here in like 2 seconds. All right, Mandy. Give me another name from Demon Slayer.
Nezuko. There we go.
Nezuka. Show me Nezuko. Oh, it's too soft. Here we go. Oh, number 7 on the board. Mason, carrying it for Team Addicts.
Inosuke. Isn't that the name of the boy?
Yeah, that's Boar.
Inosuke. So
What?
sorry.
What? How are you gonna have Zenitsu but not?
So
Inosuke?
sorry.
Yeah, I could picture like all these kids just doing his like back-breaking like bend. Just like
Kids are stupid. I'm just kidding.
especially thousands of them. Oh my goodness, that stupidity compounded on itself.
I'm
Oh
just
my goodness. Can you
kidding.
imagine being like a supervisor in that school? Please, no.
All right, so we're not gonna do Family Feud for all these, but so the sad thing was that my dad got 5th on the list. So mom put up a good fight at number 2, but my dad was beaten out by both Tanjiro and Shinobu Kocho, who's like the butterfly girl, and but my teacher did come in 4th. So,
What about
very
Mitz,
cute.
your mom? Because she's a podcast favorite, and I imagine she's a big deal in Japan.
Listen, big props to my mom. So she just bought my cousin some anime gifts because she's big into anime, and she bought her like
Aw.
she was like, I want a box set of all the Ghibli Blu-rays for Christmas. And I'm thinking, well, you're not going to get that because it's like $1,000. But so my mom bought her like a movie here, a movie there, some stuff. And I was so proud of my mom. Great selections. She bought Your Name, Wolf Children, the full series of The Vision of Escaflowne, and a selection of several Ghibli films, totally autonomously, without any input. And I was like, Mom,
That's really good.
What a rock star selection. So
Yeah.
So I put my mom high on the list, but anyway. So that was just something fun. That Demon Slayer is the entirety of the top 10. With the exception of my mom and my dad, which kind of snuck in there. So that's all I had, guys. Just something cute.
I just have something very, very quick because I feel like Mason's is probably going to take up the rest of the time. So, my very quick thing is that if you really like Chainsaw Man, the manga, shonen manga, and I know it's really popular, that's why I wanted to shout this out. But the first part is apparently ending on the 11th volume, but I think a lot of people on like social media thought it was over, but they announced that the second part will be coming soon. So I don't think Chainsaw Man's coming to a complete end. I think it is continuing in like a second part, but that'll be on the app eventually, the Shonen Jump app. So I don't know. I just thought it'd be something interesting to mention. I have not continued it, so I don't know anything about Chainsaw Man yet. I want to, but if you like it, check it out, I guess.
Check it out. What?
So I have not read the Soul Eater series, but didn't that also have like its own thing, and then like Soul Eater not? Was that also?
Maybe. I'm not
Like
sure.
I'm trying to see like why is it disconnected? Who knows? But that's good info to have. That it's not. If you want more, I guess it's out there or coming
Mhm.
out there.
Yep.
My news thing is kind of big, but it's still kind of in development. But a lot of people were talking about it, so I figured it's worth mentioning that Sony's Funimation has acquired Crunchyroll for $1.175 billion,
$1 billion.
which I want to note they will be paying for that in cash. So, like,
Oh
as
my
someone
god.
who's been watching Great Pretender and playing Yakuza 0 and is watching Akagi, that's some like gangster shit right there. Like coming up with billions in cash, that's a big baller move. But yeah, so like I said, it's still kind of, it hasn't been officially approved by regulatory committees yet, but as of right now, the plan is, all of Crunchyroll, which was owned by AT&T, they were trying to sell it, I think earlier this year for 1.5 billion. It looks like they, like we said, agreed for about 1.175. It has about 3 million paid subscribers and 90 million registered users, and how that will kind of merge into the Funimation library and all those resources is not going to be on, let's say Microsoft and Xbox devices. I don't think so, but there's a lot of details and a lot of info that still needs to come out of that before I think we can fully grasp what impact it will have. But nonetheless, it has a lot of potential, both positive and negative. So it will be interesting to see what comes of it. I don't know if you guys have any more thoughts or predictions, but it's, I think, something worth keeping an eye out for in the future.
Every time I hear it, the number gets bigger. I thought it was 900 million. Now it's 1.2 billion. And I don't know. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, but like, I'm looking at Sony's balance sheet. They actually have almost 3.5 billion in cash on hand. But they probably took out a loan and then paid in cash. But I don't know. I just still feel like Crunchyroll is not worth that much money. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't feel like it's worth 1.2 billion, but I don't know. Are people really like freaked out about this? I feel like people are like not trusting corporations very much.
I've heard different sides of the fence. I think some people are like, "Oh, we'll get all of this stuff in one place now. Maybe I won't have to have as many accounts." Some people are like, "Oh, this is going to be a monopoly and take down competition." Some people will be like, "Oh, now Sony can take this money and funnel it into Aniplex and like Clover Studios and like A1 Pictures, of which they're all under." And some people are like, "Oh, that money is actually because they have a monopoly. They're going to be able to drive out maybe smaller studios to not get on their platform and kind of indirectly influence what anime get made." Like I think there's just too much nebulous stuff out there until we get a better idea of how it affects the viewers and how good of a, I guess, product it will be for the consumers will depend on kind of the impact it has down the line. Like if it comes out and it's terrible and it has an awful UI and just people don't like it and don't use it, it's not going to have a big impact as if it is really successful. So like I said, it's, I think, honestly too early to tell what impact it will have.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen on deadline. I'm not really that scared because if uh if it ends up being awful, people are always gonna go resort to piracy. So that's like unfortunate that we won't have as much legal anime, but we also don't know what's going to happen and what's going to come out of it. I think I'm honestly more bummed out about. I mean, probably a lot of translators are going to lose their jobs after the merge because they're not going to keep all of them on. So that's sad for them. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see what happens. It would be nice to only have one, um, subscription fee, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, that was the big news of the week, guys. Always something fun to talk about. But now we should move on to the second segment of the podcast here, where we're gonna do some anime recommendations for you guys. I know there was a lot of very positive reaction to the last episode that we did where we were doing recommendations. So keep them rolling. So the first recommendation here is from Korone78, and we asked people to submit their My Anime lists, their top 5 favorite anime, and also like a brief description of their tastes with their submission. So Kodone's top 5 were Natsume Yujinsho, Kids on the Slope, Cowboy Bebop, Soul Eater, and Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. And they write, I have been watching anime for over 2 decades now, and so long as the story is well developed and thoughtful, or at least unique, I am open to any genre. But lately, they've been watching more Iyashike anime. So, what do you guys think? Can we recommend something for Kodone?
Well, they didn't provide a mouse, so I'm not sure if they have seen any of these shows or not. But I said, like, other than like Natsume's my favorite Iyashike, and I really love Mushishi. But I think the other one that I would recommend is Tanaka-kun is always listless. It's another really good Iyashike that I love. It's like pretty high up there on my list. But you could also try Kimi to Boku, which is the English name for that is You and Me, and I think they're both on Crunchyroll. So I don't know. Both of those are very lighthearted. They have a little bit of drama and comedy. So if you like Iyashike, try those out.
Yeah, my if you want like a pure like this show is nothing but comfy and fluff, Tamayura is a pretty great series. It starts off with the 4 episode OVA, which really gives you a good taste of what's to come. So I would highly recommend that. And if not, a little slept on. I think it's a short, but Senryu Girl came out I think this year or last year, and that's pretty adorable as well. So those are 2 options to check out.
I'm not really all that well versed on like the Iyashike anime. I went on Google and I googled it, and I think a lot of the best ones have been mentioned already. But like, according to the internet, like Flying Witch is a good one.
Yeah, I love Flying Witch.
Laid back camp, stuff like that. So, but great.
The next one is from O Nero, and they provided a Mal this time. And their top favorites are Eureka 7, Angel Beats, Charlotte, Mahoka Koko no Magic something.
Tetsu. I think it wrapped around.
Oh, no Reitetsu. Okay.
It's the irregular Magic High School. Is that one?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And then Hyoka. They said, my go-to anime these days are rom-coms or slice of life, usually with some added element to spice it up. Magic, mystery, sci-fi, etc. I said try Yona of the Dawn. I didn't see it on your list. I know this might be outdated because it's from the last time we did this, so maybe you have seen it since then. But Yona of the Dawn, it's on Crunchyroll, Funimation, as far as I know at least. That has some comedy in it. It's a romance. There's a little bit of comedy in there, and it's a fantasy about like with a lot of adventure in there. So you might try that out. I do recommend the manga more so because the anime, just be warned, ends like right when the story actually starts because it's a really long story. The manga has like over 30 volumes in it. But
Wow.
if you like it, if you watch it and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of like that, then definitely check out the manga as well.
And aren't we doing something special with the manga?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
Ooh,
jumping ahead.
secrets.
Thunder. I recommend Princess Jellyfish. If you have not seen that, that's also kind of a rom-com, but it definitely has lots of unique references, and it definitely feels different than a lot of other stuff. You mentioned Angel Beats, you mentioned Charlotte, and we took this poll a couple minutes back, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on The Day I Became a God, because done by the same guy, and I'm wondering what your taste is on that. So I'm sure you've already started it. Nonetheless, want to hear your thoughts.
After looking through your Mal, I saw that you haven't watched Honey and Clover, and you said rom-com, slice of life were your favorite. So I mean, I think you kind of have to watch Honey and Clover. Also, I didn't see His and Her Circumstances on your list, so that's also a good one. So sometimes you just have to go to the classics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Next up
Comes from Moral, and they put in an Annie list, which is what I'm using nowadays. So I appreciate it because that makes it easier for me. Their list includes the Tatami Galaxy, Ping Pong the Animation, FMA Brotherhood, Fate Zero, and Aka 13. And he writes, I enjoy all types of anime other than the moe or cute girls doing cute things genre. He says his favorites tend to reside within shows that are very story-driven with strong themes, and it's a bonus if they have a unique style or aesthetic. And Moriel's a regular on the Discord. We constantly steal shows from one another, so I've already given him a lot of recommendations, and he's given me plenty. But I would say Suritama. It's not quite so serious, but it looks very vibrant and fun, and it has a style all its own. And maybe as an alternative, which I'll talk about in the next What Have We Been Watching, but Gallery Fake is a very mature, kind of bartendery, Hogyo Mono, sorry, kind of unique blend of stuff. So check that one out as well.
I just said Pet Shop of Horrors because it's a short, so it doesn't take a lot to get into. It's on High Dive, and it has a very unique aesthetic and very different from a lot of other shows. So I don't know, maybe try that one out. I didn't see it on your list at least, unless you've seen it since then.
For me, you seem to gravitate towards anime with like unique or exceptional art, and because rather than just looking at like the top fives, I was like kind of picking through people's lists and stuff, and like, oh, like here's the chunk of your top list, and there was a lot of very like eccentric looking shows on the top of your list. So I would seek out more of Masaki Yuasa's stuff. His stuff tends to be a little more eccentric looking. Maybe like Kuchu Buranko might be good. You know, I always want to recommend Gonkutsuo, but I'm kind of gun shy because like my anime club hated that show so much back in the day.
No, it's so
I don't.
great.
I tried my best.
Little Gun Chai Suo.
Little gun. Ooh, Mason.
We're trying out here. It's a
Coming in
reach.
hot.
It's a little bit of a stretch.
All right. So the next one is from Hero U135, who basically said that they don't need recommendations. They just wanted to flex their top 5 list. So,
Well, good. I didn't give you one. I'm just kidding.
but their top 5 was Vowed Evergarden, Eureka 7, Code Geass, Madoka Magica, and Beastars. So, all right.
He says he also
Congrats.
wants to get judged on his top 5. So looking at your top 5, I mean, each of these shows has its own, unique, distinct visual style. They all have deeper themes, and they have hard-hitting emotional moments. And you like mecha shows that overstay their welcome and kind of waste their potential. So if you like shows like that,
Oh shit. Mason.
check out Zand Lost Memories, which had a super cool opening and all these awesome mechs, and just kind of fell apart at the end. Or watch Bokurano if you want a better show.
Well, there it is.
Okay.
Well,
Love ya.
Moving on.
the next one is from Lalos TG, and they did provide a Mao, and their tops are Asobe Asobase, Banana Fish, Run
Banana
with the
Fish.
Wind,
Bam bam banana.
I can't not do it.
Steins Gate, and Barakamon. They said, my tastes are all over the place. I like comedy, shonen, slice of life, drama, sports, etc. The only thing I'm not a fan of is mecha. Never seen a show with it that caught my eye. Other than that, I'm a fan of everything. I said, it looks like you enjoy shows that have a little bit of drama and comedy in them. And I checked your Mao and I didn't see, since you have Barakamon up so high, I thought maybe try out Usagi Drop. I didn't see it on your list, but it's on Crunchyroll and Verve. And I also have to put in the warning that if you watch the anime, I don't recommend the manga, because if I don't put in that warning, everybody in the chat will blow up and say, don't read the manga. So here's your warning.
What manga? It doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. I have to say it, otherwise everyone will tell me to say it.
Yeah. It's the opposite of Yona.
Yeah.
The story ends when the anime ends, and that's it. Yeah, this is a really diverse and interesting list. I gave a bunch of recommendations, but I think the one that might be most up your alley is Arakawa Under the Bridge, because that show is kind of like all these genres in a blender. So it's unique and it's odd and it's kind of kooky. It's not maybe Hozuki no Reitetsu as a backup.
Oh, I love Hozuki.
He's so cute, and I like his little fishes.
And the way he clubs people is really adorable.
Oh, and I love what is it, the rabbit?
Cheetah, the dog.
The rabbit is
And the rabbit's
is a crazy mofo.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kind of got a feeling from your My Anime list, Lalos, that you seem to kind of like action and adventure shows. So I put Read or Die, the OVA. I'm going to be recommending like a lot of older stuff because, that's like my wheelhouse. And the Read or Die OVA is fucking great. So that's my recommendation for you. Next up.
Nice. Next up is Blessed Baylor. Their favorites include Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Big Wind Up, Your Lie in April, Hajime no Ippo, and K-On! So one of these things is nothing. They write currently enjoying shows with lots of suspense and detective type shows, although can't say no to a good romance plot either. I think the one maybe if just going with detective-y type suspense and kind of an oddball, F the Perfect Insider. If you haven't seen it, it's kind of up that alley. If you want a little more romance, but still a kind of weird, uneasy tension to it, the movie Liz and the Blue Bird is
Liz
pretty
in the
cool.
blah.
I almost said Liz and the Blizz Bird, and I was like, that's
Blizzbird.
Blizz Bird. Liz getting blitzed with the no Liz and the Blue Bird by KyoAni. It's really good, and hopefully the K-On! Love bleeds over to that.
Yeah, I'll go next. I said that on your list doesn't look like you have seen Kino's Journey yet, the original one, not the remake. So, if you like Natsume Eugene Cho, and I also saw that you have Mushishiya pretty high. I looked on their list. It's funny because their tops are not the ones like all
Their
of them are not
highest rated?
here. Yeah. So, I also saw that on your favorites on Mao were Natsume Eugene Cho, and you also have Mushishiya pretty high. So I think that's a really good option if you like those two, is to try out Kino's Journey. And the original is on High Dive, I believe, as far as I know. I think, unless it's changed since then.
Yeah, OG Kino is Kino.
With the combination of sports and like slice of lifey, romancy stuff on your top 5 list, and on your just like on your Mao in general, I have recommended this last time and got a really great report on it. So I think Cross Game would be really great for you. Cross Game is a sports anime that has a pretty heaping portion of like, slice of life comedy type stuff in it, and it's really freaking good. So I think Cross Game is a pretty surefire win for you.
So I didn't put this on because Mitch just reminded me, but if you like suspense and you want baseball that's quicker, One Out is a ridiculous show.
Oh, it's good.
Oh my god.
It might not actually be the kind of suspense you want, but if you want like a kaiji on the baseball field, that's not a bad option either. It's so dumb that it's actually not bad.
It's really funny. It's not like realistic at all, but it's really, really funny.
Mandy and I watched it 5 months ago, maybe a little bit more, and I was just like, this is so dumb. I feel like Hisoka playing baseball.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
And money. Watch One Out.
Less bubblegum,
Anyway.
The next one's by some guy. That's what it says. And some guy I like ontological mystery. So I had to look up ontological, and it was like, now I can't remember what the hell it means.
It's like finding your place in the world. Like, where do you exist within the flow of life itself?
Well, that's a better description than what I got from Google, which says ontological, relating to the branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. So I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you for the layman's terms, Mason. So he likes ontological mystery, grand cosmic adventure, and butt stuff, because the top 5 is Gurren Lagann, Hibane Renmei, Sora no Oto, Steins Gate, and Keijo. So there's the joke right there.
One of these things is...
So I didn't really know what to do with ontological mystery. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to, and I really don't know what to do with butt stuff either. So
Really? I thought you'd be the person to go to.
Ooh. I guess. What is that one show? The
Mitsugi OnlyFans account. That's got
Why are you
That's
here,
right.
Sensei?
Shh, you weren't supposed to tell anybody about my mother listens to this, okay?
Oh, sorry.
She's gonna be like,
She's
"What?"
probably here for that review.
She'll be like, "What's OnlyFans?" Oh my god. So I mean, but Grand Cosmic Adventure is fairly easy. So there's always Space Battleship Yamato, which is kind of a cosmic adventure, I guess. Crest of the Stars, pretty much cosmic adventure. Galactic Heroes, cosmic adventure. I guess it's just like adventures in space. I don't fucking know. That's what I got for you.
I said you could try out Key the Metal Idol, which is on Retro Crush. If you are in the States, if you're not, then I don't think Retro Crush is available to you. But that one is like a mystery that revolves around like what it means to be human and the existence of the soul and your identity and AI and all that. But so you could try that one out. but also, prison school. There's some butt stuff in that.
Can't go through one episode.
I always have to recommend prison
Of
school.
course. I get it. I'm like the Tommy Galaxy. Like, someone's going to get recommended.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a matter of time.
You know. One of these things is not like the other.
Exactly. For you, some guy, I would recommend the series combo of Gunbuster and Diebuster. Those are both, early Gynax stuff, kind of up the same vein as Gurren Lagann. It's got grand cosmic adventure. Characters do show their booty in it, so I think that's checking all your boxes. If not, Space Dandy might have it. And as a super backup, if you've seen those, Tenemonia Voyagers is another, I think it's 3-episode OVA. I'm not too sure, but that's another short one. So Gunbuster and Diebuster, at least for the Diebuster opening. It's so catchy.
Also, just saying, if you've never seen Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, that might cover all your bases, because it shows her butt quite a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
And also,
she got that
Captain
booty.
Avatar said Key is available on Crunchyroll as well.
Nice.
The next one is from Remedial Knitter. That's kind of cute. I like that name. Their favorites are Haruhi Suzumiya, Angel Beats, Charlotte, Clonad, and Laid Back Camp. They said, I like cute girls and drama and weird mysteries. I don't like fan service. I'd rather watch something unique or weird than more of the same. And they didn't provide a mouse. I don't know if you've seen this. I said Kokoro Connect. That might cover all your bases because they're cute girls, drama, and it's kind of a very weird mystery. And I can't remember. I think there might be a tiny bit of fan service in there, but I don't remember it being a lot. So I don't know. Try that one out if you haven't seen it already.
I could be wrong. I thought the fan service was more like cutesy and adorable than like
I think
exploitive.
I can't remember. I think there wasn't there a part where they were trying to seduce one of the guys. I can't remember.
Yeah, but
I don't
it's
think I've
part
seen
of the
that.
charm of the show. It's kind of.
You hear this? Mason is supporting fan service.
I like Kokoro Connect, so therefore it gets the pass. Actually, a lot of these shows you like, I would say Onero's list from earlier in the episode probably has a lot of overlap, but definitely recommend Hyoka if you haven't seen it. And if you want a little more of the unique side with cute girls, Girls Last Tour, if you haven't watched that either, is pretty cool. So either of those, if you want to get really weird, maybe Flip Flappers, but you'll find something.
Let's see here. So you seem to like Key Visual Arts a lot because it's like half your list. So you might as well just finish the list of those, which includes Canon and Air, which are like the early ones. So those are two different shows. Canon and Air, I guess, is how you would say it. So
if you swap them, it'd be Air Cannon.
that's. So yeah, this is a really sad anime, but like welcome to the. Apparently you're fine with that since you got Clannad on your list. So, all right.
Next up is Thy Eggman, and their list contains 12 Kingdoms, Nashka, Violet Evergarden, Planetes, and Log Horizon. They write, I value anime with deep world building, anything I can dig my teeth into and get invested in. I also enjoy anime with unique visual styles, even if it comes at the cost of story. My favorite genres tend to be fantasy and sci-fi. And I thought of a lot of good movies for you, such as like Royal Space Force or Vampire Hunter D, but as far as like a series, maybe Gunslinger Girl, it isn't like so visually distinctive, but it has a very dark and depressive but unique world that everyone's kind of wrapped up in. So give that a shot.
I mean, you may have seen this since the last time we did this because I don't know if the lists have been updated, but I saw Moribito was on your plan to watch list. So if you have not seen that, you should definitely check it out because there is a lot of really cool world building in there. It's a fantasy-ish. Yeah, I guess, it is fantasy. There's some weird stuff in there. I'm like, that definitely doesn't happen in real life. It's a fantasy. But and it's an adventure as well. So I definitely highly recommend that one based on the kind of shows you like. And it's available on High Dive, I believe.
Also, listener, I recommend Moribito to just about anybody.
Yeah.
Period. Like
Agreed.
it is. I
bought it on Blu-ray during Black Friday sale.
I remember I watched it. Like I was like, oh, I've never really heard of it, and I was like, oh, I found the show. It's really cool. And Mandy's like, yeah, I've seen that. It's really good. I was like, how have I gone so long with it? Like I just feel like it's not loved enough. So as someone who missed out on it, I want to spread the love. Good rec.
I'm not really sure what to do for you because you gave Golden Boy a 4 on your Annie list, so I'm probably not your best recommender. But Gurren Lagann has a pretty good like world to it, so that's not on your list. So you might want to check that out. Plus, it's kind of, I don't know, a staple sort of. The next person is clearly just me that submitted pretty much. So Abyssal Juggernaut submitted. They mostly like action, fantasy, drama, mystery, romance, and their top 5 list is like almost the same as mine. So Monster, GTO, Hunter x Hunter, Now and Then Here and There, and Toradora. So it's like, I mean, I don't know.
You like Toradora?
No, I mean I haven't seen Toradora, but
okay.
But I
wouldn't have pinned that as something you'd like.
I like all the others though are all like in my top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Hunter x Hunter is in my top 5.
What?
But it's probably like top. It might be. It's probably top 15. So, I know.
Rude.
I know. Sinful. Don't we have like a? Don't we have? Oh, I took all the.
But the dump truck one.
Oh no! I took all the old like fail drops off the board, so I had like the shame drop. But it's it's like that's the thing. It's like you don't. It's like oh, I'm not using these drops. I'll take them off. And the minute I take them off, I need them. So since you like GTO, I'd say Shonen Junai Gumi, which is like the GTO prequel sort of. That's probably worthwhile. It's not. Don't expect GTO level like awesome, but it's fun to see Onizuka as like a punk. And since you're me, Crest of the Stars, you didn't have that on your list, so I mean, I have no idea if you'll like that, but since you're apparently me, you probably will.
You should just watch the 1999 version of Hunter x Hunter. Why stop now? Just keep going.
He didn't specify which one, but watch both. If you haven't watched both, watch the other.
Yeah.
Here's the dumpster drop. So moving on, I guess. So since you guys
really quick, I just wanted to say, dude should watch Berserk.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it on your list. Watch it. It's action, it's fantasy, it's drama, it's mystery, a bit of romance, but not will they, won't they? So it's good.
I mean, we should just say everybody should watch Berserk, pretty much. Just like you just should, but the old one, not the new pile of shit that is very much. Okay, moving on. The double dump. Mandy?
This one is from FIFO, I believe that's how you pronounce it. But their favorites are Monogatari series, Noragami, Steins Gate, Sangatsu no Lion, and Welcome to the NHK. And they said, as awful as it sounds, I love watching depressed characters, whether they just persevere or eventually get happy. I value characters more than setting, but I prefer some sort of fantasy setting over real life. Lately, I have been reading webtoons more than watching anime. Please help make my anime addiction worse. I said, if you like depressed characters, it sounds like Aku no Hana is right up your alley. That show is a mess, but that's on Crunchyroll. Other than that, I didn't look to see if you have Natsume Yujincho on there. I don't know. That one is like fantasy and deals with a little bit of like loneliness and depression but it's a pretty long series, so I don't know if you would like something like that, but you can try it out. But it is very slow, just be warned.
I don't think they had Natsume on it, and I know that because I had it recommended, and I was like, oh, Mandy will definitely say that. So
oh. Well, there you go.
I definitely get where you're coming from with liking that kind of character and watching them deal with stuff. I recommend House of the Five Leaves. That's pretty cool. And Technolize is kind of a different sort of depression, but it's definitely not a happy series. So give those a shot. And obviously Perfect Blue is a weird twisted movie from one of the greats if you want that as well. So give those a shot.
I don't know how you missed it. Oh.
Sorry, I was just going to clarify. Aku no Hana, if you couldn't find it, is also titled Flowers of Evil.
So I don't know how you missed it, Pfeffel, if that is your real name, but I couldn't happen to notice. But you haven't seen Ava.
No way!
and they're very depressed in Ava. So get on it. So you can watch Shinji just be in his own head the whole show, pretty much. Next, and the 12 Kingdoms. I know I've recommended this a ton of times, but like that show is full of misery and pretty much a lot, and most of the characters rise up above their shitty situations. So since you pretty much literally described it as characters that persevere, that one is definitely a good suggestion. I don't know if it's on your MAL or not, but I would check that out. Mason.
Next up comes from Alex, and their list is Attack on Titan, Death Note, Steins Gate, Hunter x Hunter, and One Piece. And when we had in the prompt to say, tell us about your taste, they replied, I don't know how to answer this question. Is it about food? Smiley face. Which I thought was hilarious.
Oh, I read this wrong. I'm sorry. I did it quickly.
He wasn't saying I like food. He wasn't sure what you meant by when you were asking for taste. Which I like, because then Mandy and Mitz gave him food recommendations.
I'm so sorry.
Hey,
I was doing this
like
very
food.
quickly. I'm sorry.
No worries. So, when we were asking for taste, just kind of tell us about what you like. But from what I can tell, you like big shonen shows. Like, looking at your list, I can count the number of like single core series you have seen on one hand. So you like the long, epic, drawn out stuff. So I would say either Slam Dunk if you want sports, or Psyche K if you want comedy. And those are both about 100 episodes of content for you.
Look, I don't see Gintama on your list. You should watch Gintama, but they never have food. They're always starving to death.
So once again, I knew you were going to say Gintama, so I didn't even bother.
I recommend Gintama to everybody, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, it starts off with a parfait.
It does.
Miss, what do you got?
Well, I took your comment literally, of course. So I said Food Wars.
It's a long shonen. That's good.
Said you like shonen and food. If I didn't get the joke, but I mean, it's not on your list. It's Food Wars is okay. I mean, it's pretty fun.
It's dropping off a bit, but it's still fun at the beginning.
All right, Cobalt Robin writes the next submission. They like shows that are relatable or believable characters that they want to cheer for, tackle mature themes like gender roles, societal pressures, action comedy, great background designs, and cool female characters. And their favorite shows are Revolutionary Girl Utena, Princess Tutu, Tatami Galaxy, Natsume's Book of Friends, and Gintama. And there was an awful lot of like Ikuhara.
Is this me?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Ikuhara like floating around, so I would just go watch all the rest of the Ikuhara that you haven't seen, or even like influenced by Ikuhara. So, like, what was that one show that we covered about the like trapeze people?
Review Starlight.
I know it wasn't like Ikuhara, but it was influenced, I think. So, like,
yeah, I think he used to work with Ikuhara.
So that would be somewhere to start, probably. You know.
Yeah. The Rose of Versailles is like straight up your alley. Like, and if you watch that, you can see a lot of the like how it influenced Utena, but it's not available anywhere legally, unfortunately. That to my knowledge, at least. So, but the author of Rose of Versailles also made Onisama A, and that's available on Retro Crush. And I talked about that recently, and that one is very melodramatic, and it focuses on an all-girl school, and it's crazy. There's a lot of drama in it, but it's definitely a fun watch. It is a popcorn popper for sure. So yeah, I don't know if you are interested in those kind of type of shows. I like, based on what you like, I would recommend Rose of Versailles more, but Onisama A is still like a decent watch, and I think you can get a little bit of what you like out of it, like based on the stuff that you listed.
Yeah, I didn't even think of Rose of Versailles, but that's a great pick. Because originally I was like, oh, we'll do Moribito. Oh, they've seen it. Oh, we'll do Hachiko Tomichin. Like, oh, they've seen it. So I was like, oh, where to go next? So I'm going to throw two very different shows at you. Hopefully they Venn diagram and get all your needs. One of them is Princess Principal, which I had a ton of fun with. And the other is Zure Children, which is like a short or adorable like romance show where couples kind of argue and get together. It's pretty nice. So hopefully one of those strikes your fancy.
Yeah.
All right.
And
That's pretty much
that's
it, guys.
for this round.
Wow. Well, that was a pretty like efficient burn through of these. We have more, honestly, like in our pocket. So this it's a pretty good topic. You know, it probably won't come back soon, but you know, it's always a possibility. So, but we got a lot to do after the news break. So why don't you get us there?
Yes, and before we go to the news break, we have our in-show weekly trivia question. In Great Pretender, what are the names of the 4 cities that the 4 cases take place in? We'll let you know in just a couple of minutes. See you there.
Hey, all you anime addicts, Mitsuki is here, and I'm bringing you some anime news, starting off with some Tumblr 2020 news. Tumblr has ranked the top 2020 anime and manga that appeared on Tumblr during the year. And of course, the top spot went to My Hero Academia. Surprisingly, not Demon Slayer, but of course, Demon Slayer only seems to really have the island of Japan on lockdown. So, My Hero Academia coming in at number 1, Haikyuu at number 2, JoJo at number 3, Beastars at number 4, Naruto at number 5, Demon Slayer all the way down at number 7. So, just to popular, but not as popular as it is in Japan. So, for those of you that are fans of the many shonens that are out there. Next up, there was a giant poll done about who your people's favorite Sailor Scout was by the NHK. They do this type of stuff quite often. And all of the characters were involved in the poll, but it looks like Sailor Uranus has come out of the battle as the winner, or as I like to say, Sailor Uranus. So Uranus coming in at number 1, Sailor Moon, Haruka Tenno, Minako Aino, and Ko Seiya, all rounding out the top 5. So a fun little poll, but it looks like not even Sailor Moon herself could take down Sailor Uranus as the fan favorite Sailor Moon character. Next up, anime viewership on Netflix is up in the US over 100% in 2020. So, the Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution film was the most watched anime title this year on Netflix. So, it looks like this is just going to continue to further the emphasis on anime by Netflix, as Netflix is seeing lots of growth in their content that is anime from viewers throughout the world. So, that is great news. Next up, it looks like another great thing to go do in Japan when you visit next. Dragon Quest is getting a theme park island in Japan just outside of Osaka at the Awajishima Park in Hyogo Prefecture. So, which is an island area just south of Osaka. You'd probably have to take like a boat to get to it. But it looks like the company that's working on the theme park announced that it's opening the Dragon Quest themed attraction area named Dragon Quest Island Daimao Zoma to Hajimaru no Shima, or Demon Lord Zoma and the First Island. So you'll be able to check it out. It looks pretty cool. Lots of cute slimes everywhere. So I know that next time I go to Japan, it will be on my list of things to do, in addition to the Super Mario Brothers theme park, which I also believe is down in the Osaka area. And rounding us out today, we have the 2020 Video Game Awards winners. Unsurprisingly to probably everybody, The Last of Us 2 wins Game of the Year, and also the Best Game Direction. It also won Best Narrative. It also won Best Audio Design. And if you're wondering what it didn't win, let's see. Elden Ring won the Most Anticipated Game, which is kind of a strange award considering it isn't even out. Also, Ghost of Tsushima wins Best Art Direction, Best Score and Music to Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, basically, the Last of Us 2 awards. Hades not winning much of anything in the awards other than the Best Indie Game. This is Mitsugi. This was your anime news break. And now, time to get back to the podcast. Anime Addicts, the AAA podcast, is always trying to bring you new and exciting ways to enjoy our content, and now we have an exclusive member-only RSS feed on the site that is going to let you access our hentai episodes, our Hobby Addicts, and our After Parties episodes, all from your favorite mobile apps. That's an additional 8 episodes of content per month just for you, and you can listen to it through Apple Podcasts app, you can listen to it through Podcast Addicts, Pocket Cast, Overcast FM, Downcast FM, etc., onward and onward. So many mobile apps for you to choose from. If you were holding back on supporting the podcast because you didn't like listening to our extra content through our website, now you can get it and listen to it the same way you enjoy all your other podcasts. So pitch in, help out the podcast, do a good thing, and enjoy all the extra content we have for you. Just go to aaapodcast.com/join, support the podcast, Merry Christmas, and you will get all this extra content and an exclusive member RSS feed for you to enjoy. That's aaapodcast.com/join, and support the podcast.
Hey, this is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto Uzumaki, and I am an anime addict. Use your Rasengan!
Went on break, we had a question for you. The question was, in Great Pretender, what are the names of the 4 cities that the 4 cases take place in? The answer was Los Angeles, Singapore, Nice, and Tokyo. And I also got more water, because I realized the more I talk, the worse my voice gets. So I'm trying my best.
Gatorade.
H2O.
Gatorade. Okay,
I'm stopping it there.
all right. I would have gone into the full song. Like I was prepared to sing the song and everything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, guys. Well, we have a truckload. Wait. Of new releases to get to today, so let's hop to it. That's the wrong drop. We haven't used this drop in
dang, I missed that drop.
We haven't used this drop in so long. Where the hell is it? Do I still have it? There it is.
It's time for hot new anime releases.
All right, so hot new releases. We save this segment for shows that are like really big titles. Namely, we'll start off with a new Code Geass anime series, Dakan no Z, coming out. It's in production. It's going to follow the events after Code Geass Fukatsu no Lelouch, or Lelouch of the Resurrection, the sequel movie. So, staff is Yoshimitsu Ohashi of Kokoku and Sacred 7. That's the director. Directed by production by Studio Sunrise, who I think Sunrise did the original Code Geass. And the concept is from director Goro Taniguchi of Planet Test, and the screenwriting is from Ichiro Okochi from Devilman Crybaby. Guys, are we fans of Code Geass? Have we seen it? Are you excited?
It's been so long, I barely remember it.
It's like high school.
I'd say reserved at best. I really liked Code Geass. I thought it was like kind of over the top but fun. Like it just knew what it was and enjoyed it. I watched the Lelouch like Resurrection films. I think there's 3 of them, and I was like, it's starting to kind of lose its luster. Maybe because I was out of it for so long, but I don't know. I guess it kind of already peaked, so I don't have much faith for it to come back. But who knows? Anything with the right comeback can do good. So no reason to count it out.
All right. I don't know. I'm somewhat excited. Like Code Geass was pretty good when I was like in high school or whatever, but it's been so long. The next anime here, moving along, because there's 5 of these. The third My Hero Academia film is announced for summer 2021. It's going to open in Japan first in the summer. Studio Bones is doing the production. Returning staff, pretty much everybody. The director, Kenji Nagasaki, the scriptwriter, the character designer, the music composer, all coming back to work on the movie. The original manga creator, Kohei Horikoshi, is serving as the chief supervisor. Are you guys up on My Hero and the films?
I am not, unfortunately.
I have not watched any of the films. I think they take place like between seasons. So I think they're like new material. They're not like recaps, but I don't think that they were required viewings from what I heard. So I have not seen any of the films, but I'm sure, I mean, you take Bones, which already has pretty good animation, and give them a movie budget. I'm sure they look gorgeous.
All right, moving on from that. This is a pretty big one. We were just talking about this over Thanksgiving. My girlfriend's brother is really big into this manga, of course. Chainsaw Man is getting a TV anime adaptation to be animated by MAPPA. I have no notes here. I don't know much about Chainsaw Man. Guys, are you reading it, and what are your thoughts?
I did a manga minute on it a while ago, and it's crazy and over the top, sort of like if you like Dorohedoro, kind of very similar type of just gory, gritty, and dark, over the top action. So yeah, if you like Dorohedoro, maybe try it out. I have not continued it, but I want to. Just know that there is a scene where he has a chainsaw for hands and he's riding a shark.
Say no more. I've only read volume 1, and it was pretty enjoyable. And hopefully Mappa does to this what they seem to be doing so far with Jujutsu Kaisen, and just crank it up to 11 and get that Dorohedoro vibe. So yeah, excited for it.
All right. I was looking for some sad music here for you, Mason, but I couldn't find any.
Sorry.
So the next one on the list here is Pride of Orange, an anime coming out in October, and we did sort of predict this, sort of. It is a CA animation label and DMM Games mixed media project, which is being billed as, quote, the first girls ice hockey anime ever. And they're like already planning video games and stuff for it, done by Studio C2C. Mason, you are the hockey buff.
I am the hockey buff.
So what do you think?
Sports anime is so hit or miss, and a lot of, I think, don't really lure people in with the sport itself. They try to lure you in with the characters and have you care about the sport as a side effect, which is what I'm guessing this one is going for. I don't know. I don't want to count anything out, want to be optimistic about what's to come, but we'll see. I can't say I know anything much about the studio or what's coming out. I mean, the promo art didn't really show them actually in any hockey-related equipment or poses. They were just holding sticks, so not a great first step, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad outcome. I don't know. I'm trying to stay positive with this one, but we'll see.
I mean, I was about as excited for a hockey anime as probably anybody could be. I don't know. That doesn't really seem to be what I want out of a hockey anime, because I want the movie Goon. But I don't know. This is like, to me, it's disappointing because it's like the latest in the line of like cute girl sports shows, which like we had like that baseball show that came out. Then we had the
rock climbing one.
dumbbell shows, rock climbing shows. And this one's like the same. Like I at least would have wanted them to put the girls in like hockey gear for the friggin' for the promo photos. I mean, most of the girls are wearing like thigh-high socks and like high heels in the friggin' promo. So I don't know. That doesn't really seem to strike me as very hockey-like. I don't know. I mean, I want hockey.
For everybody.
I want
For
hockey.
everybody.
I want hockey. I don't want like trying to learn how to ice skate. You know what I mean? So
I get you.
I don't know. But someone on the Discord did make a funny comment, and they said, "What if the people? What if like the violent hockey players from Goon, like their souls possessed the Moe girls on the ice, and it was like these Moe girls just like leveling each other like on the ice?" And I was like, I want to see one of these girls like take an ice skate off and like stab somebody in the throat with it. But
Get a little.
it's not gonna.
Yeah,
happen.
going back to the Adam Sandler bits.
It's not gonna happen. But well, I will hope for like. Hockey, but I don't know. I'm kind of negative about sports shows at this point because we haven't had like a serious sports show in a little bit. On a positive note, Thunderbolt Fantasy, the 3rd season, is coming out in April 2021. Was delayed because of COVID. I'm guessing we won't really cover this one because it's the 3rd season, but Thunderbolt Fantasy is like really fucking awesome, and people that give it a try because it is like puppets and stuff, and people were like, "Oh, it's puppets," like. I know people that have said that, and my response is like, yeah, but it's like the production is so freaking good that, give it a shot. So, are you guys excited for Thunderbolt Fantasy Season 3?
Yes, I am.
I haven't got through Season 2 yet, so...
Oh.
But everyone who I've heard pretty much try it out tends to really enjoy it, so I'm excited for all those people.
I just want the guy to sit there and smoke his little pipe thing for like a whole hour and just watch him smoke his little pipe.
Oh yeah, what was his name? It's been a while.
Oh my god, I can't remember any of their names.
Uncle Iroh.
I wish.
It's the guy with like the blue robe and he's got the white hair and the very like just kissable lips, and he's got his little fucking.
Was it Jing Jian? I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, he has like the fanciest puppet too. I love him. He's my favorite.
Yeah, It's
been a while. Like I watched seasons 1 and 2 straight through, and I was like, yeah, this is a lot better than what I was expecting.
All right, well, guys, so lots of good stuff coming. We're going to be covering the winter season here pretty soon, but we're starting to fill the gaps in of what's coming out next year, and we'll be sure to keep you filled in on all the exciting new releases that are coming out as we hear about them. So let's jump to the mailbag and take care of that.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
This mailbag comes from This Is Heavy, and if you would like to leave your mailbag, go over to aaapodcast.com. At the very top, there's a big fat mailbag button where you can leave all your comments and questions, and we will see them and answer them and be best friends. But as I said, This Is Heavy writes, this is more of a question for hobby addicts, but what is your favorite video game of all time, and why is it Snake, Rattle, and Roll? P.S. What is the Mason drop from? I crack up every time I hear it.
You ever wonder, like, where people's names come from? Like, is This Is Heavy? Does that mean, like, dude, this is so, like, emotional and, like, just serious stuff? Or is he literally, like, carrying something heavy, and he was like, God, it's heavy. It's so heavy.
Groceries, they're heavy sometimes.
He was typing it out on his phone, and his phone. They're just so big nowadays.
Well, let's take care of the Mason drop first, because he's talking about this one.
Mason.
And I don't know where that came from. Like, someone gave it to me. And they were like, you should use this. But I don't know where it comes from. Like, I don't know. My favorite game is probably Lunar, the first one. We've talked about this before. I've played through it like 6 times. Final Fantasy VII is like, it's nostalgic enough that I could just play the game like continuously and probably never get bored of it. Klonoa 2, Lunity's Veil, is a pretty solid favorite of mine. It's short. It's a PS2 game. Very fun, easy platformer. Been through that one a few times. So... that's about it.
Why shake? Why snake, rattle, and roll? Is my question.
I mean, have you
Why?
played it?
Yeah, I have. It's an
Oh,
old NES game, and it's like, it's funny. I don't really, man. I honestly don't have many like fond memories of NES games, like except for like Kirby and Metroid. I think there are a few others in there. Like I liked Castlevania, the first one, but outside of that, it's like most of my memories of the NES were like just a giant pile of jank. Yeah, so I think my favorite is, I mean, I feel like this would always change if you asked me at different like moments in my life, but I think maybe Dragon Age Origins might still be my favorite because I have like over 300 hours in that game. And I completed like every possible thing that you could, like from every origin, both like male and female protagonists. I completed everything on every difficulty. And I used to make armor mods for the game when I was
Oh wow.
just getting into 3D design. And they made it really easy. They gave you kits for modders specifically, so it was really helpful. That like they gave you all of the materials to be able to put them in yourself if you weren't like great with coding. So that was really cool, and I used to make mods for it. So I have a lot of fond memories of that. But I also have a lot of good memories of Lunar on Sega CD and King's Quest: The Princess Bride. I love that game. I could probably still quote most of it, but honestly, I'm not gonna be honest with you. Hades is new, but it's moving way up there. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes the top spot soon. I love Hades so much,
She
and
does.
I have gotten everybody hooked on it. So
I
Hades,
can vouch for that.
Hades, big snub at the Game Awards. Didn't get.
I know, what a crime.
Yeah. Mason.
Well, I have not played Snake Rattle and Roll, so I guess my second favorite video game of all time, as Mandy said, it's a dice roll. Any day of the week, this answer would change. I mean, the FromSoft games, the Shadow of the Colossus, like there's so many good stuff out there that I love. But if I had to go by the game that continuously and constantly brings me like joy every time I play it, I'm always excited to start it back up, is the Kingdom Hearts series, either one or two. Just something about that game is just up my alley, despite not really being
I was
into
gonna
Final
say-
Fantasy, not being into Disney. Like, I went into that game like actively like disliking everything about it, and I just have fun with like how deep the combat is in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's
I was gonna say, didn't you like shit all over the new one?
oh 3 is really it's not good. And they're doing their best to
I
fix it.
believe that the game you shit all over is your favorite. That sounds like
I
a
didn't
Mason
say
thing.
Kingdom Hearts 3. I didn't say Kingdom Hearts 3. If it had fan service, no, I'm kidding. Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and that's it's like Berserk. It ends there. It ends as soon as the story gets bad. But yeah, there's so many good games out there. I don't think I could pick just one. And that's
Cool.
it. Thank you for writing in.
Yep. And if you want to submit mailbags, again, from the website, aaapodcast.com, mailbag button along the top. And we will read your mailbags. So now we have reached the ultimate part of the podcast.
Yeah.
The
So
Great
now we
Pretender.
have a review of Great Pretender. I'm just going to keep calling it The Great Pretender just to piss off Mason. So, The Great Pretender came out summer 2020. It was one of mine. And you can watch it on Netflix. And I passed it on episode 534. So, The Great Pretender is. That one was honestly on accident.
It's honestly doesn't bother me at all. I just figured if we're nothing behind the scenes doesn't matter. Say it
Look, he
however you
is
want.
boiling right now. His face is red. He's so mad. I
He's
put that in there.
raging.
How dare you put the word in there that makes it actually flow off the tongue better?
The Great Pretender came out
Oh.
was adapted by Wit Studio, who everyone knows has done Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, and the director was Hiro Kaburagi, who worked on Hoseki no Tetsu, Kimi ni Todoke, and so Great Pretender is about a man named Makoto Edamura, and he's kind of down on his luck, and he has resorted to pickpocketing and scamming people out of money to survive. And so one day he tries to scam a random person on the street out of the money out of his wallet. And it turns out this person that he attempted to scam was Laurent Theory, who is a guy from was he French? I think he came from France.
I believe so.
But he is a master at scamming people. He is a big con artist. And he seems to have come to recruit Edamura into his little band of thieves and scam big people out of money, including like drug lords and other like really big name people. So yeah, that's the basic gist of it, and the story is just about them going on a heist together, although Edamura is not entirely excited about it. And it seems to all just come together into one big heist at the end. So, yeah, I guess we can go into our expectations going in.
I think I knew that this show was going to be good. I think their impression was good. It's a Netflix show. I tend to have a little bit of higher expectations just because of that, because I expect Netflix to put a little more into their properties. And you know, I don't know. I knew that it was like wow, it had like wild colors in the art because of the trailers and stuff. But other than that, just other than basic plot line, I didn't know a whole lot going into it, which is pretty much normal for me.
I had watched the first 2 episodes back in the day when they first dropped, and I was kind of expecting something similar to like Rolling Girls, like super visually like dynamic, and it's another original Wit Studio production. And I was really hoping that it was like a really smartly written like caper with like clever ploys and tricks. And it kind of became obvious that it was going to be a little more slapstick in nature. So I was like, it looks like it's got potential, but I'll wait until we do the review of it, because it obviously was such a standout on the visual side that we were going to talk about it. So I was kind of hoping to get more of the heist when we came into this review, but I heard that it was very highly rated, so I was excited.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect going into it, except I did the impression of it. And my impression, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the first 3 episodes that I watched. I liked the characters. I ended up putting it on hold because I wanted to watch the dub of it, because Netflix tends to have really good dubs. And there's a little bit of a switch at the beginning that it makes sense in the story why you should probably watch it in English. And, like, the little joke works better in English. But yeah, so I was excited to watch it though, and I tend to like a lot of stuff that Wit Studio does because it looks really good, and so yeah, I knew it was a very beautiful looking or really good looking show, and with a great ED. So I was excited. I guess with that we can go into spoiler free recommendations.
I thought this was a great anime. I enjoyed it quite a lot. I appreciate that it is semi-episodic and that it's broken into little pieces that don't really have much connection to each other, but the story arcs are long enough that there's enough of like a continuous. You know, I really kind of enjoy the way they do it, because it's like, oh, maybe you watched the like maybe the show was about one heist and you're like gonna watch it and you're like, oh, I really don't really care about like art or something, and you're just not interested in the heist itself. Well, if there was only one of them, then you're stuck with that for the whole time. And conversely, if it's just like one heist per episode, then there's not really like much of like a meaty story for you to get into, because they just keep restarting, a la like Lupin the Third. But this is somewhere in the middle, because it's got like 4 to 5 episode story arcs, and so it's like even if you don't enjoy the heist that you're currently watching, the next one will start pretty soon. But there's enough of like continuous story there to like give you like something really like solid to sink your teeth into. So I really enjoyed the story. The heists were pretty clever. Like most of the characters are enjoyable. The art is, I find it very beautiful. I think some people probably would find it annoying because it's a little over the top at times. It's like not as wild as like Gankutsuo, but like it's very bright. Like it's just like, you know, it's almost like comically art, like bright. But I found the style to be really nice. The animation's good. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of bad to say about it. Like the dub is good. You know, it's on Netflix, so you know, kind of assume so. And you know, I'd probably recommend it to, I don't know, shit. I guess unless you're just like offended by heists. I don't know. Like, is that a thing? Like, do people just like not like heists? I don't know. It's because it's got enough comedy and stuff in it that it's, you know.
Then we determined this was the crime cast. We're all pro crime.
I don't. I think if you don't, I guess if you just don't like the art, maybe you wouldn't like it. But like, I found it to be very solid. Like, I think most people will at least find some enjoyment in it. So I'd say it's very recommendable.
Yeah, without question, this whole series has a spectacular design sense. Like, it has these digital and hand-drawn elements that are smartly like blended together. Everything has these like sharp geometric textures to it, which means even like a plain wall or like a floor just has a like sense of style and spunk to it. And the characters are equally kind of spunky and bold. But on the other hand, I just thought everything was kind of lacking in like the wit and like snappy department. Like, the plans are very sloppy and they kind of fool people that are so dumb that it kind of makes the heist unimpressive to me. So the show has a mostly solid dub. It looks great. The soundtrack is really dynamic and it's easy to get through Netflix. And I think a lot of people will enjoy the ride. And I think it's easily recommendable to a lot of them. But personally, I just didn't find it that thrilling or engaging, because I think once I realized that the heists weren't supposed to be all that clever and it's supposed to be like a fun, lighthearted, globe-trotting romp, and everyone was like really hyping up the show, I think I just expected more. And because none of the characters really clicked with me, and thus none of the emotional beats kind of hitting, I found myself underwhelmed. So I thought it was a fine show, but it was definitely style over substance. And I'd recommend everyone check it out, but I think the hype train kind of lost me on it a bit. So still a fine show, but not a god tier. So those were my thoughts.
No, I do recommend it. I think the it looks fantastic. It has some really great backgrounds as well. The art in it is fantastic. It has a great dub. I think I might recommend listening to the dub over the original, which is weird because normally we don't do that. But the dub in this one, I thought the joke at the beginning was a little bit easier, because if you watch it dubbed on Netflix, be warned that it does start in Japanese.
Oh yeah.
But it doesn't last. It does go into English, and there's a joke to it. So
It was
but no,
a scam from the beginning. You would think it was it tricked you the whole time. Sorry.
But yeah, I think overall I enjoyed it. I think the ending, the last heist had some messy moments in there, and I don't know, it could have been that maybe they possibly rushed the ending, because this wasn't original. I checked. I didn't see anything about it being based off a novel or anything. So it's possible the ending may have been rushed a little bit. I definitely recommend not watching the after credits, because that was a big eye roll for me. But overall, I really like the characters a lot. I thought they were a lot of them were really charming. That's a lot of different types of personalities to them. Their character designs are fantastic. It has really good music. I love the ED. If you like Freddie Mercury, it is the Great Pretender ED. And yeah, overall, I think it has a lot of style to it, and it touched on a lot of different, a lot of darker morality than you would have expected. It doesn't smack you over the head with like on the moral train, but it does touch on some darker subjects. So yeah, no, I think overall I would recommend it. Just the ending got a little bit sloppy towards the end, which I'm sure we'll talk about. So yeah, with that, I guess we can go into spoiler section.
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god!
As I clear my throat. So yeah, where would you guys like to start?
I mean, it's all little stories, right? So it's almost like you can't spoil two at a time.
Mm-hmm. I think I actually kind of liked how they all ended up being for one big heist at the end. And I thought that was kind of cool. I just don't know if I liked how the heist at the end was handled.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there are parts of it I was kind of rolling my eyes. Like, the whole show is all over the top, which is fine. I thought that was really fun and enjoyable. But towards the end, there was a little bit too much in there that I was like, I don't know if I buy it. Like the building at the end that they built which we're in spoiler section now.
Oh yeah.
And but there is like this big heist that they do, and they go to an island and they build like a building just for this heist, and then it falls down at the end. I was like, that's a little silly. So little things like that towards the end were a little bit I thought messy, but I guess we could probably. I think it'd probably be better to start at the beginning and just go from heist to heist and just like the introduction of the characters and to start with.
So the characters, or like how the heist was in our mind, or either.
I guess both. They all kind of wrap together.
Okay.
I thought that the characters in the first heist were especially dumb. To Mason's point, like I liked the heist itself, like the whole drug cartel thing, and I found the subject matter interesting. And I honestly, I don't know, I don't pick up on. I guess maybe it's because I don't really like think a lot like about like like what is the twist or whatever. Like I'm not like looking for the rock to uncover to find the secret. But like I don't think I really saw it coming that like the FBI was actually just like a fake thing in there, and that they were like part of the scam. At least in the first one, because once you know all the characters.
I also didn't see that coming. I was like, oh, what happened? I assumed they weren't dead because there was more episodes to enjoy. But I was like, what?
But it's like, if this guy can be intelligent enough to have this whole like this whole crime organization going, he obviously has some intelligence to him, because you got to be able to organize things, and it's like running a business, right? And in a lot of ways, and for this guy to just like buy in that these little fucking little marble things are like some kind of a special drug, I was like, I mean, it's dumb, but like it didn't really take away from the heist for me. But like I didn't really think about how dumb some of the characters are until Mason mentioned it. But like, yeah, that guy's pretty fucking dumb. Like there's no way that shit was real drugs. Like, this is so silly.
Yeah, Kasano was like a scumbag, and he like renovates his entire laboratory and scheme just on like the mention that, oh, this drug can do something. And there's moments where our main character Edamura like goes to him and is like, oh, I've never seen your films. And somehow he knows that like Kasano will like then take him into his private room and then show him a movie that critics didn't like, so that he can pretend that he does notice it, and then like mentions it in the menu after, like, or why was there a car chase if the cops were paid off? Maybe not the whole team was in on it, but clearly some people were. So like there was a lot of moments where you had to take it at face value and just go with the flow, and which is something I'm not good with. I question everything, and that's why I saw a lot of flaws. I did like the call out though, the filmmaker Kasano, like in his film when like Edamura is studying the tapes, like the main character like blows up a warehouse by like building up pressures in these cylinders, which is the exact same thing Kasano does at the end of the heist to blow up the building. Like this show is full of really smart touches and like references and callbacks that aren't overly obvious, and I do appreciate that. But the plans are just so frustrating that I'm like, oh, that's just too. It's too fun, and I want a little more Ocean's
Mason
11
hates
stuff.
fun. We know
I
that.
hate fun so much. But
fuck fun.
Yeah, so I mean, in this, we pretty much meet the first three of the characters: Edamura, Laurent, and Abby. And I guess I don't know if we want to go through what our thoughts on them are at this stage of the show.
Well, I think one thing that I really liked is that we do meet a lot of. I mean, obviously the main characters are, they're con men, and we also meet a lot of big criminals as well. And so it's I know some people probably are like, well, who am I supposed to root for? Because they are, conning criminals, but technically they're not good people either, and they're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. But I think what I actually really like though with Edamura and also the bodyguard in the first arc, Salazar, it introduces people who have turned to crime, who aren't like bad people. They're really good people. They just, I think it was like a nice touch that they touched on, where it's like, not everybody who does crime are really bad people. It's like that gray area that I really like when shows explore that. It's, circumstances in your life can drive you to do things, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, you're a terrible person. Like Salazar goes into drug crime because he wants to give his son a better life. And the Edamura is driven to becoming a conman because he can't really find any job opportunities with his father's history. So I thought that was a really interesting thing that I wasn't expecting an anime to touch on, because normally anime are like black and white. No, criminals are bad people.
Yeah.
You can't root for them. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought the Salazar like side arc was more interesting and engaging than the heist itself. I really liked those 2 episodes where they were involved with one another. Did it bug any of you guys that they kept on calling it? They call themselves confidence men instead of con men. Like, I know that's what it's technically called, but I've never heard people say, "Oh, like confidence."
I've never heard of that. I never heard that either. It didn't really occur to me that con is short for confidence, but I don't know. I don't know why they chose that. It didn't bother me though. It's like, I mean, I don't really particularly care, but yeah, I don't know why they made that choice. It's interesting.
I will say I like a lot of the characters. Look, a lot of the characters in this are very attractive. Abigail, I love Abigail a lot. She has a lot of spunk to her. She's very cute, and I like Cynthia as well. And Edmure is okay for a while up until the ending. I do think it was a little frustrating sometimes when he's like, I just want to quit, but then he can't. I don't know. He always gets roped back into it. And so some of his little moments were a little like irritating. And Lawrence, you always get the feeling that there wasn't like there is something else in this. Like, he doesn't seem like the type who'd do all of this just to get money. Like, so that's why going into the final arc, where you do learn that kind of like all these heists are leading up to the big one, and it wasn't just about money. But yeah, I don't know about Laurent though. I always felt like there's something else going on.
I thought Cynthia was fine. I did not like Abby.
Oh, I love her.
Bugged me. She was a force of nature because she was like 50% frog because she was jumping all over the place, and she was 50% bird because she kept on flipping people off, and she kept on bullying Edamura.
She's a frog
and
bird.
She was just a bully. Like, I didn't like any of the characters. They were kind of just like jerks to each other, and not in like a fun, playful kind of way, but like they're all on edge and really don't like one another way. And I don't know. I just never got into the chemistry between them.
Well, technically, there wasn't like they weren't like friends. This isn't like a jolly group of friendly criminals.
And I get that.
And they do say at the end, like, if somebody dies, we leave you behind. Or like, if you get caught messing up, we leave you behind, even if that means your death, because they're in it for the crime, not just, they're jolly friends who are like Robin Hoods.
I see that, and I could see them being like, oh, we're in a high pressure situation. We can't really let our guard down. But like in the first case, Edamura's like, you know what? I really shouldn't be here. This is really out of my depth. I don't want to do this. So he goes to leave, and she just like jumps out of bed, chokes him out, and says, okay, leave. We don't need you. It's like, he was already leaving. Why would you do that? And then be like, go jerk off in the back alley, you worthless virgin. Like, I don't know. Like, she's just a meanie, and I don't like her.
Well, she's also, I mean, I liked Abby. I get what you're saying. I mean, she's just generally kind of a violent character, though. I mean, she also is like prepared to basically gut a dude in the second arc. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm just gonna like gut you like with a knife.
I love her.
I mean, she was fine. I don't know. The characters in this are, they're to me. I like all of them, but they're not. I don't like any one of them especially well. It's a little bit like Edamura is a little like the guy from Black Lagoon. He's kind of in this group of people with like much bigger personalities than his own, and he's kind of just like tossed between like the rocks of these people's personalities. And you've got like everybody's very to like an extreme in their personality type, and he's just kind of like floating around like, oh my God, just trying to survive in there. So I don't know. I guess I didn't really like any one character especially well. but I didn't find any of them particularly like unlikable. So I think that they worked fairly well together. And I didn't really even mind the like the personalities of like the quote unquote like villains that they were conning. So, like the guy in the beginning and the what the hell are their names? The fighter jet pilot
The
guy
brothers.
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Like everybody had like a unique enough personality that like I enjoyed them. They didn't. I'm not gonna like buy an anime cell of them or something, but they were fine. Abby was fine. She was
Yeah.
fun.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So the heist that we start with, first one is about the drug lord, and the second one was about the illegal gambling, which a lot of it was what do you call it? Not set, but
Fix?
was fixed. Yeah, thank you.
Race fixing or
And
whatever.
then yeah, the plane racing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one, which I think was honestly my favorite, was about the art theft and this guy who steals art and then sells counterfeits of them. And I think I like that one a lot because we got a lot more about Cynthia's backstory, and I do kind of like like all of the stories where we explore more of their backgrounds and why they're doing this, and kind of like just their personalities. And I don't know, I thought that one was I like that one. We got into her backstory and learned about her past love life and how he was also driven into doing things that he didn't really want to, but he wasn't a bad person. And I don't know, I think I liked all of the first three heists, but I feel like the fourth one just got, which technically in Netflix, if you watch this on Netflix, they set it up as season 1 and 2. The season 2 is like the whole final big heist, and that one, I don't know. I feel like that one was kind of a mess.
The heist so nice, they tried it twice.
Yeah. So the first three I really enjoyed. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about the first three.
I like the second one the best because I like the airplanes, but
Yeah, I think I like the second one the best as well. I liked having Lewis, the disabled pilot, as he's like watching them go around, like him like imagining he's still piloting it. Though I wish we got better closure between him and Abby, because it seemed like she kind of just acquiesced to his want to fly without really coming full circle on that. It was kind of implied with a muted conversation we got. I love that they referenced drummer Mike Portnoy as a huge music nerd. That was a cool thing. I like how they just got rid of that one engineer by just saying, Kevin, your house burned down. And he's like, okay, I'm leaving, and just fixed it. 3 was okay. I didn't like, as the guy in the show says, and I felt like this like snobby art dude when they like go to the auction, they set off confetti, and he's like, it's so tacky, but it really is. Like moments like that were just fine. I actually didn't mind the fourth case as far as it's the finale. It can be a little overblown, like they kind of deserve it, but as Mandy said, it's so far beyond any sort of practicality that it's just like, okay, it's a cartoon.
Mason didn't like the art one because he realized he was the art dealer.
I was the art one. Like he wasn't like they like I like this whole like, oh, he didn't steal the piece. He actually, they stole it kind of, but then he bought it because he does have a discriminating eye, so he did get a good value, so he didn't do anything wrong. And he's in a relationship that, is it their job to get in the way of? Well, that's debatable, but then they trick him, but then they don't trick him. Like that had a nice thing around it. And I like the backstory to Cynthia. That was kind of nice. It had a little bit of overly sappy ballads that played over and over and over, but it wasn't bad. But I think the second one was my favorite if I had to pick.
how did you guys? If there's nothing else to say about like the heists themselves, how did you guys feel about like the art? Because I think the art is like a big component of this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, and the backgrounds are fantastic as well, and they were modeled after real places, and I felt like you could definitely like get a good feel of what these cities looked like. And yeah, no, I thought the background art was fantastic. I really liked the character designs. I liked the color palette, which was all over the place. I thought it was I don't know, I thought it was a really good looking show and a little bit more unique than a lot of other shows that come out.
Yeah, Wit Studio continues to kill it, especially when they're unbounded by like a manga or source material, and they can really just flex. And every part of this show looked good consistently throughout.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I think we should talk a little bit about the final arc because I feel like a lot of people who are really enjoying it. I think that the fourth arc, the final one, is the one that a lot of people are like, kind of definitely the weakest link of the of the anime. So, I don't know. I really didn't like how it constantly did the oh they died and then we took it away and no they didn't die and then we took it away again. It's like I didn't like the constant back and forth with that I and it dealt with a very dark subject matter. This one is about child traffickers, and I felt like at the end they got off a little bit too easy. So I didn't know how I felt about that.
well, to be clear, Edamure like actively works for them, and I know it's part of the heist, but he's
That
like
was-
up there like selling kids. Like he's like, oh, it's for the heist, but for like months, I'm just gonna help these
I
child
thought he
traffickers
wasn't
out.
aware. I thought he lost his mind and didn't know till his father shows up. Like I did not think that that was planned. Didn't they say at one point, "Oh, we didn't tell him that we're not dead, because he'll blow the cover"?
Edamame.
Yes, thank you.
Constantly the disrespect in this household. Yeah, it was weird, and it was also weird that they kind of, and they very not so subtly imply that all the past people from previous cases helped them out
That was
with
really weird
performing it. I'm like,
too.
wasn't Kasano like, sure, he was a bad filmmaker, the biggest crime of all, but like, wasn't he also like getting like hookers like locked up in jail and potentially like addicted to drugs and killed? Like, are we forgetting that? Like, that was kind of a big component.
Like I don't mind all of the heists at the beginning, like coming together and being like, okay, Laurent wasn't in this for the money. It was specifically just a revenge plot because he wanted
Mhm.
revenge against the man who killed, or yeah, I guess the man. I was thinking because there are two different crime lords in this one. One from the Yakuza, and the other one was from a
It's like a
gang in
Chinese syndicate
China.
and like
Yeah.
a Tokyo syndicate.
Yeah, yeah. And so like the entire plan was to get back at the person who killed his previous like fiance. And so I did like how that all came together because I honestly did not see that coming because I I I don't know, the whole beginning part I was like I don't know what Laurent is trying to do because it doesn't feel like he just blows money and it doesn't feel like he's in it for the money. So I knew something was going to come up about his backstory and why he's doing this. So I don't mind that, but I also was thinking like they stole all the money from these guys. And they just came in kind of like a laugh, like, ha ha ha, we forgive you and we'll help you. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How did that conversation happen?
it was strange, and it was definitely trying to fit in both Lauren's like backstory with like Edamure's reconciliation with his father to some degree, and there was just a lot up in the air, and a lot of the, I don't know, story beats I felt got rushed and shafted a bit. But I don't know, the heist itself was all right, and I like the behind the scenes and kind of ridiculousness of it for the finale. But as a character learning piece, it did not have the same weight that Abby's did in case 2 or Cynthia's in case
Right.
3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Abby's was pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, I don't mind Lawrence like whole drive for revenge. I don't know. I think there was just a bit too much in there that I thought I can't buy this. Like the guys coming back, like, oh yeah, we'll help you with this heist.
Actually, we're
When-
best friends and we're hanging out on a yacht.
We stole all their money, totally screwed them over. Yeah, they came in like, yeah, sure, we'll help you. And I like the part with like the building falling down at the end. I was like, it's a little bit cheesy.
Yeah.
And then I did like that they like rescued all those children. I thought that was cool, but I also thought it was kind of weird that we just brought back Edamura's father. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting him to be like a part of it, and then they just did the constant back and forth, like they're dead, no, they're not dead, they're dead, they're not dead. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's so
I was exhausted.
cheesy is the word for it, and it's
Yeah.
how much dairy can you take in before you're like, I've had enough.
And I did like that they rescued all the kids, and they did, take every cent that these crime lords had to their name, but they dumped them on an island and gave them enough supplies to survive. And I was thinking, why would you bother giving them supplies so that they survive. These are like horrific child traffickers who are selling children into slavery. They're fucking terrible people. They're not like, oh, we sell drugs. Oh, we rig races.
Yeah.
These are awful people. They're like the worst. I don't know. I felt like they got off a little bit too easy. But yeah, and I did not like the post credits. That was another of like, they're dead, and this is the whole point of revenge. Oh, but she's not dead.
That's constant.
I hate that.
It's as bad as the I've got amnesia and I forgot everything trope. Like there needs to be a better, compelling way to keep us engaged.
Can somebody just finally die for real?
Please.
Or just not be fake dead. I don't know.
I will say I think my favorite part of the whole show was in case 4 when they like lock the people they're duping outside the room and they just have to be in there making a lot of noise. So they're all just like firing in the air and stamping around and Abby's just like wailing around. That was like legitimately hilarious.
Yeah, there are definitely moments in there I thought that's cute and fun.
Yeah, every episode had like really well crafted moments, but just the stuff around it, I was just it took the edge off just enough where I was like, it's a good show.
Fun, so I thought it was fun.
I don't like fun, but I do like the music. And the music here was pretty fun and jazzy, and it has some weird like hip hop, EDM, like trap moments. The biggest problem was that they reused a lot of the cuts. And like, for example, the opening is really good and it's clearly taking cues from Tank, but it's skippable because you know you're going to hear it in the episode anyway. So it was like, I don't know, I just was hearing the songs a little too often, but it was good, just like the art.
Well, I don't have much more to say, honestly. I enjoyed it pretty well, and I enjoy watching anime that are a little different, and I think this one was different than most. So it's, it kind of adds a little bit of spice to things, and I appreciate that a lot. So, but ultimately, don't have a lot more to contribute to the discussion.
Yeah, I think overall I do recommend it, and I enjoyed it. It's just there's some moments in the last arc that I was like, this is getting a little bit too silly, or maybe rushed. Could have been rushed because we are in COVID season. But overall, thought it looks great, sounds good. Love the dub, character designs, and I thought it was a really fun show. So overall, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, as much as I like wanted to detract from it, like it's really well produced, and I don't know, it's refreshing and it's memorable and it's worth checking out. So give it a shot.
Yep, I agree. All right, guys. Well, we have reached the end of the podcast. So, again, of course, if you want to find us on social media, there's Twitter. You can find the podcast at AAA Podcast. I am at Pope Mitsugi. Mandy.
I am at Mandy X Mandy, both Mandys with an I, and I am on Twitter. And I post Hunter stuff. Occasionally, sometimes art and ferrets.
Mason, where are you?
I'm at Macy Pacey, and it's we're just vibing over there.
Yeah, and of course, if you guys want to join our Discord channel, it's become it's a fairly large Discord, honestly. And if you want to find it, you can get to it via the click the button at the top of the main website, AAA Podcast. It'll take you to the Discord, guys. What do we have going on the Discord right now?
Well, Anime Club will be watching Tokyo Magnitude 8.0 December 16th at 10 p.m. EST, and you can check out that show over on Funimation.
Manga Club, we will not be back till January 6th, and that's because in 2 weeks I probably won't be around due to the holiday. But we are reading extra manga volumes for this because of the long break, and we are reading 4 volumes of Yona the Dawn. So all you gotta do is read all 4 volumes. Come to Manga Club on the channel, and we'll have a laid-back discussion on it on January 6th at 10 p.m. EST.
All right, and guys, if you want to support the podcast, aapodcast.com/join. You'll get our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, our after parties. Help the podcast keep clicking along how we have been on this whole time. So we appreciate your contributions very much. And on the next episode, we're going to be reviewing Decadence. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching live on Twitch. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.